So hi, Jean-Baptiste. Very good to have you here again, and thank you for joining us for our Energy Matters video series. Appreciate you taking the time.
Pleasure is mine, Chris.
Thank you, and really wanted to hear the McPhy story. I mean, it's a topic and a company that's well known in the hydrogen space, but I'd love to hear, and our viewers would love to hear the story directly from you in terms of how the business has grown and what your plans are for the future.
For sure, McPhy is definitely a very exciting story of a small company created by a couple of PhDs with a great idea, and that has developed into I would say a mid-size European player in the field of H2. So it is indeed a quite exciting story. We started a bit more than 10 years ago, and have gradually built up into a pan-European player. We have now operations in France, Germany, and Italy. We have, I would say, developed a strong know-how on two core businesses: the electrolyzer business line, which is basically a business where we design and produce green H2 electrolyzers from various capacity, from small a few kg per day to large platforms that can power up to 100 megawatts. And so that's the electrolyzer business. And then we have a second business, which is the refueling station business, where we operate also a line that designs and produces hydrogen refueling stations for heavy mobility solutions. And those two businesses are obviously at the forefront of the development of the green hydrogen mainly in Europe, which is our core focus, through industrial decarbonation programs or mobility programs. I mean, we address the full scope of the hydrogen potential.
Fantastic. And we were talking briefly before about sort of conventional oil and gas and the energy transition and how it has accelerated and taken many people by surprise. But you've been in hydrogen for 10 years, before it was fashionable and before there was so much focus. How has that impacted your business?
I'll just make a preliminary statement regarding my personal view, because I've been with McPhy just a few months. So I don't have the full knowledge of the detailed history of the company, but I think it's fair to say that McPhy has evolved and has actually already adapted quite well to changing technologies. Because for the record, McPhy was initially developed as a company developing solid storage H2 solution, which is a technology that has been discarded, and then the company moved into the electrolyzer business. So in a fairly short lifespan, the company has already evolved and changed, and I think that's one of the core elements of the DNA of McPhy. A true agility and a good understanding of what the market wants. But now it's clear that there is a fantastic momentum in the green H2 world. The last few months are a clear testimony to a change of scale and a change of expectations from a regulatory standpoint, from a market design standpoint, from a demand standpoint. I think we all are clear on the fact that this is here and now, that the green H2 is taking off.
And following on from that, I think a number of our viewers would be very interested from the high growth clean tech side of our market. You're a new CEO into a business that has had a lot of innovation, a lot of work done from the PhD beginning, and now it's about expansion. You have a proven product, and it's about scaling that.
Yep.
From a Russell Reynolds perspective, we're obviously interested in people and leadership and culture.
Sure.
What do you think needs to happen, not necessarily specifically with McPhee, but generally when a growth company gets to that scale? How does the company scale? What are the pitfalls and challenges that you need to overcome?
I think that's a critical point. And for us, we have 4 strategic pillars: technology, cost competitiveness, partnership, and people management. People management is the last of the list, but is actually one of the areas where I'm spending most of my time. And just to give you a sense, we grew by 40% the headcount of the company last year. We're going to grow another 40% this year, which means we're going to hire approximately 70 to 80 people this year. So this is a huge challenge in terms of selecting the right talents, attracting them, keeping them, and rewarding them. So the full cycle of the people management is very, very challenging. I think we are benefiting from a lot of interest around the hydrogen world, for sure. So I would say the natural inflow of CVs and resumes is quite high. But on the other hand, competition is quite active, and sometimes you just don't find the right skills and people, who have understanding of the hydrogen business with a supply chain background, a PhD in material science with H2 experience. I mean, doesn't exist. So you need to be very creative in the way you're gonna shape and develop the skills of your teams in the next few months. And it's a very exciting challenge, but a very daunting task in terms of energy to spend there. Yeah,
it must be a fine balance between you're building a team for a future state that's going to be the company McPhee is going to be, if all goes well, much bigger quite soon. But you also need to closely manage cost and G&A because you still are a high growth company. Absolutely,
this is a very, very important point. You're right. So it's really finding the right balance, as you said, and walking on a thin line, because you need to build for the future. But indeed, there are also cost considerations, and quite frankly, attracting people in a company that is still small and that could present a level of risk is also a challenge. So we need to find the right balance between indeed building the skills and processes we need for I would say a much larger company while being efficient in what we have to do today, which is a bit more hands-on and a bit more small scale. So not easy every day.
And thinking about a hypothesis that we are building based on the fact that there is just so much competition, to your point, on hydrogen in particular, and the talent within hydrogen, and it's not a proven scale business. Certainly green hydrogen is not. So you need to find people from other sectors. The view that we're looking at here is unlike an established or a sector like oil and gas in the past, where people were hired on their experience predominantly. Now you have an opportunity to dial down the emphasis on experience. There still are critical components of experience you need, and dial up the skills, the leadership capabilities, the competencies to move the business forward. So do you agree with that? And B, how creative can you be from a sector perspective, background perspective, to get the right leaders to take the business forward?
Well, I fully agree. I think this is absolutely needed. And quite frankly, there are not that many other options. So you need to really, as you said, dial up the leadership, the potential part of the candidates. But I would say, on the other hand, it's consistent with the story of the company and of the sector. You're building with people that have large aspirations and who think tomorrow is going to be better than today. So that's the type of mindset you want to bring on board. And indeed, this is the type of people we need to recruit, and we need to be creative indeed. So adjacent sectors or people who have some understanding of renewable energies, but not in the H2 world, or just the sheer passion. Because at the end of the day, what makes the difference is the level of passion and motivation that people bring in. I mean, if you come from a pharma, but you are, super highly driven, and that H2 is what you want to do, why not? I think we are taking, I would say, a reasonable level of risk in developing a new technology. So we should also take a reasonable level of risk in bringing new skills and people who have different experiences, definitely.
Building on that, because you look at the last couple of years, the companies that have gone public in clean tech have, the share prices have not performed well, because I suppose there's been the shift from sentiment and excitement about the sector to now a focus on execution and delivery very quickly. So when you think about the culture of the team and the capability of the business, you have the purpose, but how is it really now about execution? How do you build that capability to deliver upon what's been promised?
That's a very good point, because indeed you want the mindset of entrepreneurs and dreamers to some extent, but you need also the discipline of doers and of now it's about delivering, now it's about execution. So you need, but that's where you need smart advisors like Russell Reynolds to help you build the team with the right mix of type and the right balance of the type of leadership and the type of characters that people would bring on board. So you need a right balance in your leadership team between obviously looking at the top of the mountains, but also people telling you about tomorrow's production plan and the nitty-gritty of executing a strategy. So indeed, that's also an area where you need a balance.
Is that would you say a transformation of culture and capability, or is it more iterative? Has it been more iterative?
I think it's indeed a transformation of culture. I think when you move from being a startup, being a purely technology-driven, very science-centric, you need a certain type of personality, a certain type of leadership. When you move into a scale-up, which is, okay, let's build the factories, let's make sure that customers are served on time in full, you need a different type of leadership. Obviously, this is a story, so you don't want to lose your roots, and you need to keep what has made you successful is important to keep. But again, what makes you successful in year one is probably different from what will make you successful in year 5 or in year 10. And that's where you need a leadership team that recognize this and can evolve and bring different type of skills to reflect the maturity of the business and the different scale that you are entering.
What does the next 5 years look like at McPhee?
Exciting, for sure. Busy also. But I think that's also the great part of working in against climate change. I mean, you feel a purpose, you feel a mission, and it's not very hard to motivate people because they know why they are working, and again, most of them feel the sense of urgency and feel that they are contributing. And I think having a sense of purpose is a luxury sometimes because not everyone can wake up in the morning and have a clear sense of purpose. And I think in our industry we are I would say, grateful for this sense of purpose.
And to your point, waking up in the morning, what keeps you up at night? What keeps you worried?
Finding all the exciting people I need to execute my growth plans, making sure that we are, attractive enough for them and that we can deliver on what we said we would do.
Are you optimistic about the energy transition, the pace of the energy transition?
I am fairly optimistic because I think the awareness is there. I mean, quite frankly, the awareness level, I mean, in the business world, but in the world at large, has significantly increased over the last few years. And I think there are clear policy targets, whether it is in Europe, maybe a bit less so in the US, but I think at least in Europe, you have a clear agenda driven by climate change. I mean, Fit for 55 is a clear example of that. I mean, all the recent initiatives at in terms of policy towards the energy mix are also clear. I mean, there is awareness on a global scale that we need to move. So this is the part where I'm fairly optimistic. Where I'm less optimistic is probably in the speed of execution that you touched upon a few minutes ago. And I think there has to be, a sense of this is now and this is here, and let's get this done.
Jean-Baptiste, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate the time. Fascinating story, and we wish you all the best, and we'll be watching with interest.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Cheers.